Hey, what's up, everybody? Hammerheart Metal Reviews here. Once again, it is that time of the month, time to talk about my favorite albums that were released this past month, September 2025. I am back from vacation earlier this month. I was away the last little bit of August and the first couple weeks of September, so there's a good chance I missed some albums. So as usual, I want your recommendations down below. Let me know of what I missed and what I need to go check out, because there's a really good chance that something just went under my radar, especially if it was something that maybe isn't like a big name band. So please give me your recommendations. I'm counting on you, and hopefully you can get a couple recommendations from my list as well. This was a pretty solid month overall. I've got a really nice mix of subgenres here for you on my list today. I do have a top 20 that I'll talk about, my 20 favorite releases from this month. I will say the first 10 that I'm going to talk about, I'll kind of move through them pretty quickly. Haven't necessarily spent as much time with those, but at least on first impressions, still albums that I think are worth checking out. But I'll get into a little more detail once I get into my top 10. But you know the deal by now. I've been doing these for a while, so let's just get into it. Kicking off my list today, going with Heruvim and their album Mercator. So I might be mispronouncing both the band name and the album name. Doing my best here with pronunciations. This is some old school death metal from the Ukraine. This just has a really nice overall vibe and the riffs. And what really drew me to the album was the album art here. Like, that album art just really hit the mark here. But the music itself is great as well. Just a solid slab of old school death metal. Heruvim from the Ukraine. Up next, Before the Dawn with their new album Cold Flare Eternal. So this is some Finnish melodic death metal with a nice dose of like gothic metal in there as well. This features the dude from Wolfheart and Dawn of Solace. He's a very busy man, constantly putting out albums with all his different projects. Before the Dawn, I don't think is quite on the level of like Dawn of Solace, but nonetheless, this is still a pretty solid album that you should check out if you're into any of his other projects. I'm sure there'll be something here that you will enjoy as well. Sticking with Finland and sticking with Melodeath, going with Moore's Principium Est with their new album Darkness Invisible. So this band has been going at it for quite some time. They have a pretty solid discography, very reliable and consistent. You know what you're getting, and it's no exception here. It's not necessarily anything that you haven't heard them do before or haven't heard from the genre before, but it's a very consistently enjoyable album for the style. So definitely go check this one out if you're into Melodeath, because you will surely find something to enjoy here. We're going to stick with Finland once again for my next pick with Amorphis and their new album Borderland. So legends from Finland. I mean, what can I say about this band to introduce you to them? Everyone knows who Amorphis is. I mean, me personally, I like their early era much more than the style that they've kind of gone in their later days. And this kind of follows in the footsteps of their last couple albums, really like melodic heavy rock, if that makes sense. I mean, you still got all the trademark Amorphis sounds in there. I will say it's still a pretty decent album. There's some catchy tracks here, but I do still kind of long for the older prior days of the band. But nonetheless, if you're into their last few albums, you will surely like this one as well. It's still a well done album. Up next, going with Revocation and their new album New Gods, New Masters. So there's some technical death metal, thrash metal from the USA. David Davidson and company just putting out another absolute ripper of an album. If you are unfamiliar with this band, I'd say for fans of bands like Vector with like their technical thrash and even some elements of a band like the Black Dahlia Murder, kind of mash those styles together, and that's somewhat what this will sound like. I mean, they're really doing their own thing, but yeah, just crazy guitar work on here. Another solid release. Up next, Withered Land with the album Hall of the Dead. So this is a one-woman epic symphonic black metal band from Belarus. So think like a lot of inspiration from a band like Summoning, for sure. Maybe a little bit of influence from a band like Dimmu Borgir. And it's just a style that I can really get behind. I really dig it. She's got the raspy vocals down. And it's just a really enjoyable dose of epic black metal. And I'm all for it. A solid release. Up next, going with Castle Rat and the new album, The Bestiary. So this is some doom metal from the USA. They're fronted by the woman who calls herself the Rat Queen. She's got a huge stage presence, and just the persona kind of takes over the band. If you see any of their music videos, they really nail the fantasy vibe here and just the retro style of their music. I really enjoyed their debut album from a couple years ago, but I will say I haven't really found myself going back to it a ton, and I have fear that that's what's going to happen here as well. Like, this is a ton of fun, this album. Don't get me wrong. They set out to make this style of music, and they just hit the mark completely, but I don't know how impactful this album will be in, say, 10 years from now. Maybe I'll be wrong, and I'll be going back to this a lot. But I do still like it. I think it's a lot of fun, and it's a well-done album. I just don't know how memorable it is based on how little I'm going back to the debut. But we'll see. Definitely still a fun album that you should be checking out. Up next, going with Fauna and the new album Ochre Ash. So this is some Cascadian black metal from the USA for fans of bands like Wolves in the Throne Room or Alda. Things in that general vein. This overall has a great atmosphere. They really capture it. It's got this almost ritualistic feel to it. But I will say it's a tad overlong and tends to meander a little bit in spots. Like, this is 70 minutes and it's only like 5 tracks. And some of the songs just kind of are aimless in some sections. I don't want to shit on it too much because I still really enjoy the overall atmosphere and vibe that they're going for here. It's still a decent album, just maybe could have been trimmed in a few spots. Up next, Speed Queen with their debut album With a Bang. So this is some Belgian speed metal, traditional heavy metal, however you want to classify it. This is just fast-paced, full of high-energy riffing and high-pitched vocals. Exactly what you look for in this style, and I'm all for it. I love speed metal, traditional heavy metal, when they nail the sound like this, and they absolutely did a great debut. Up next, going with Syrinx and their new album, Time Out of Place. This is a sophomore album by this band that is kind of hard to classify. Call them progressive hard rock, progressive metal. What really drew me to the band in the first place is that it features the vocalist from Traveler, who used to also be in Gatekeeper. So as soon as I see that he's involved, that gets my attention right away because I absolutely love his vocals. And I think he nails pretty much every style that he does. Like, this isn't going to sound like Traveler. He's doing something completely different here. This definitely has like a huge Rush inspiration for sure. It should also mention, in addition to featuring the vocalist from Traveler, this also features the ex-guitarist from Spell. So if you're familiar with Spell from Canada, you kind of know what kind of guitar stylings you might find here, like progressive, classic 70s rock vibe to it. And yeah, it's just a compelling album. It's really well executed. It goes a lot of different places. They're not afraid to experiment. And it's just an overall very enjoyable album. Up next, going with Autrest and their album Burning Embers, Forgotten Wolves. So this is some one-man atmospheric black metal from Brazil. This is on Northern Silence Records, so you can kind of anticipate the style of music that it is just from being on that label. I'd say for fans of bands like Can Bard, major similarities there. Elderwind, stuff in that general subgenre of atmospheric black metal. And all in all, it's a very well-done album that I'm enjoying quite a bit. All right, that was the first half. Now let's get into my top 10, my absolute favorite ones from the month. I'm just going to take a sip of water, and then we're going to get into it. All right, in 10th place, going with Crucible and their new album, Hail to the Force. This band is from Denmark. This is another speed metal, traditional heavy metal band. Almost everything that I said about that Speed Queen album, you could kind of apply here as well. I mean, you just look at the album art, you know it's going to rip. You can tell what style it is just from that. It's got great vocals, great sing-alongable parts, and it's another album that's just a lot of fun. Definitely go check this one out. Up next, going with Borderland and their new album Popol Vuh. Might be mispronouncing that. This is another one-man band, another black metal band from the USA. This is another one that kind of has some tribal feelings to it, but this is so chaotic and raw and like dirty sounding. It's just insane and intense. It's kind of hard to describe. You'll just have to go experience this album for yourself. It's so in your face and aggressive, but it's really enjoyable. It's solid stuff. If you like your black metal, like anything that I just said, then definitely don't skip this one. It's a solid release. Speaking of albums that are a ton of fun, Bergsvriden with the new album I haggans often. Probably mispronouncing that. This band is from Sweden. This is like blackened folk metal. I covered their previous album on my channel a couple years ago. But yeah, this is just so much fun. I absolutely love this style of blackened folk. Think like a band like Fintroll meets a band like Vindir. And that's kind of what you get here. You have great melodic guitar lines and just the raspy vocals and still just some bouncy, folky fun throughout. And that's what you're in store for here. It just puts a smile on my face listening to stuff like this. And they nail the sound perfectly. Bergsvriden. Up next in 7th, Helstar with the new album, The Devil's Masquerade. This is USA power metal, thrash metal, however you want to classify them. Not necessarily thrash, but like power speed, power progressive. I don't know. You know Helstar by now. I mean, I've been a longtime fan of this band. And this is a legacy band that's actually making a worthwhile contribution by putting out a solid new album. Not to take a shot at other bands, but I'm going to. The new Dark Angel album, terrible. Like, take a note from Helstar. If you're going to wait a while and put out a new album, make it a good one. But let's get back on track, talk about this Helstar album. This one, oh, so goddamn good. So many ripping riffs. The classic vocals that you know you're getting from Helstar. Same vocalist from back in the day, and he's still just killing it. And yeah, for a band that's been around as long as they are, I can't overstate how pumped I am that this album is as good as it is. Because you never really know what to expect with bands that have been around a long time, but they absolutely nailed it. A stellar album. Up next in 6th, going with Jord and the new album Emellan traden. Probably mispronouncing that as well. Another band from Sweden. This is like post-black metal, atmospheric black metal with a hint of doom in there as well. This really goes heavy on the atmosphere. It's really soothing at times, yet still has those moments of aggression where needed. It's really all about the atmosphere and the emotion that it's going to make you feel and the different emotions that it pulls out of you as you're listening to these different songs. It's got varied different types of songwriting and they just execute the emotional balance flawlessly here. This is a great album. If you're unfamiliar with this band, great starting point. Go check them out. Might just blow your socks off. All right, now we are into the top 5. My 5 favorites from the month. Here we go. In 5th place, another legacy band that put out an absolutely solid album, Paradise Lost, with their new album, Ascension. So a band that should need no introduction, but if you are unfamiliar, Death Doom legends from the UK. I mean, they started as Death Doom. They eventually went through a bunch of different phases of their career doing almost like Metallica-inspired stadium metal, if you will, and then also a very gothic period. And this album kind of takes a tour through their different eras. It has songs that would fit on the old stuff in their mid-period and on their later stuff. Like, it just has a little bit of everything, which sounds like it could be a little disjointed, and maybe it is at times, but it mostly works for the most part. You've got those heavier tracks. You've got the Metallica-ish songs, if you will. You've got the gothic doom side of things. But what really stands out to me here is Nick Holmes' vocals. Even though he's getting up there in age, he sounds absolutely amazing here. He just killed it. And if this is the kind of album that we're getting from Paradise Lost at this point, I'm all for it. I'm completely satisfied with this type of release at this stage of their career. A triumph of an album. Up next in 4th, going with some black metal with Gjendod and their new album Svekkelse. Probably mispronouncing that as well. This is some Norwegian black metal. And yeah, it just has just the right amount of folkiness to it. It really captures that old school Norwegian black metal style perfectly. I love the approach here. And they just know how to nail that sound. Bringing in that old school black metal approach with just, like I said, that just the right amount. They're going to throw an acoustic in there here and there. Just have some of those folky melodies. Band that maybe would be a good comparison would be a band like Taka. Very similar style here, but yeah, I've really enjoyed the last few albums by this band, and they are just keeping it going here with another absolute standout. Up next in 3rd, we're going to stick with black metal with Der Weg Einer Freiheit. with their new album Innern. So this is some German black metal this time around, and another one that really captures the atmosphere perfectly and that goes so many different directions with their songwriting on here. It's a very emotional yet harsh album at the same time, and it has almost this like cinematic feel in moments. It's just grandiose in scale, and I am absolutely loving this album. I'm loving the journey that it takes you on from start to finish. This is the type of album where you don't want to just listen to one or two songs. You've got to listen to the whole thing to see the ebbs and flows, just to hear the different emotion that's going on throughout this album. Honestly, one of the better black metal albums of the month, easily. That's why I have it in third place. All right, we got two more to go, my absolute favorites. And this next one, if you know me and you've watched this channel before, this should absolutely be no surprise. And for today, in second place, we're going with Vintersorg and the new album Vattenkrafternas, probably mispronouncing that. Swedish blackened folk. I mean, I've been a long-time fan of Vintersorg, whether it's his time in Borknagar or his solo stuff. I mean, not really solo stuff anymore. Maybe it started that way, but Vintersorg is a full band now. He just happens to go by that name as well. But yeah, I've loved every Vintersorg release, and this is no exception here. It's kind of a nice blend or mix of his older folky style with some of the modern sound that's been on his last few albums. I will say it's not as progressive as maybe his mid-period, but this is just, yeah, blackened folk in the epic Vintersorg style. This one just came out, so I haven't spent a ton of time with it yet. I'm already putting it this high because I love Vintersorg, and I'm already loving this album. But in time, this could easily rise into the top spot or, like, make it higher on my year-end list when the time comes. I just, yeah, need to listen to it even more, but I'm already digging it quite a bit. That's why I had to put it this high on my list. But there is one album this month that I have been listening to basically since I got back from vacation. I heard it once and I'm like, okay, I'm digging this a lot, and it has been on constant repeat, constant rotation, and that's why I'm going to put it in number one for the month, at least for now, and that is Ambush with their new album Evil in All Dimensions. So this is just some classic Swedish traditional heavy metal for fans of bands like Accept, Judas Priest, Grim Reaper, but then throw in a dose of a band like Europe, which might sound out of the norm, but if you listen to the album, you see what I mean. They just really capture the retro 80s vibe, but they're doing it in different ways. They've got a fast, speedy song, but then they've got a song that does remind me of Europe that would just work in a huge stadium setting, but they make it work so goddamn well. Like, this is just an infectious album. Maybe the songwriting is kind of straightforward, but it works. The vocals are great. It's more of a mature album compared to their first few releases, but here on album number 4, they've really come into their own, and they know exactly what type of album they want to put out. There's been a ton of killer, like, retro metal releases this year, and this one is rising up with the best of them. It's just a solid slab of heavy metal. Like, how can you not sing to this? You are just going to be singing these choruses. Like, these songs are just stuck in my head. I've only been listening to it for a few weeks. But, yeah, honestly, it was an easy choice for my number one, at least for now. Being back from vacation, I haven't listened to a ton of these albums, like I said, but I have listened to this one a ton, and that's why it's in number one. So anyways, these are just my thoughts and opinions as usual. They're sure to change over time. And, yeah, I would love to get your picks down in the comments. Let me know what I missed. Let me know what you thought of these. And you can look forward to another one of these next month. So until then, Hammerheart Metal Reviews. Oh.